Title: The Clockmaker's Legacy. Part 1. The Shop of Lost Seconds. In the fog-drenched streets of a city that time seemed to have forgotten, there stood a shop with no name. Its window was filled not with jewelry or fine clothes, but with clocks. Thousands of them. Grandfather clocks that ticked like heavy heartbeats, tiny pocket watches that chirped like crickets, and strange brass contraptions that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The proprietor was a man named Elias Thorne. Elias was as thin as a minute hand and had eyes the color of aged parchment. He didn't just repair clocks. People said he could tune time itself. If you were late for a life-changing meeting, Elias could find a few extra minutes in the gears of your watch. If a moment was too painful to bear, he could make it pass in what felt like a heartbeat. One rainy Tuesday, a young woman named Clara entered the shop. She wasn't looking for a repair. She was clutching an old rusted iron key. "My grandfather left this to me," she said, her voice trembling. "He said it opens the 13th hour. Do you know what that means?" Elias stopped his work. The rhythmic ticking of the shop seemed to hold its breath. "The 13th hour," he whispered. "A myth, a legend about a pocket of time where the past and future meet. Many have searched for it, Clara. Most never came back." Part 2. The Map in the Gears. Elias took the key and placed it on a velvet cushion. He reached for a massive, ancient astronomical clock in the corner of the room. With a series of precise clicks, he opened a hidden compartment. Inside was a map, not of land or sea, but of constellations and gear ratios. "Your grandfather was my mentor," Elias confessed. "He believed that humanity was losing its grip on time because we treat it like a commodity, something to be spent or saved. He wanted to find the 13th hour to remind us that time is a gift, not a prison. To find the entrance, they had to travel to the great observatory on the peak of eternal dusk. Clara and Elias set off that night. As they climbed the mountain, the air grew thin, and the stars seemed close enough to touch. Elias explained that the 13th hour only appears when the moon is perfectly balanced between two peaks, a phenomenon that happens once every 50 years. "Today is that day," Elias said, checking his silver pocket watch. "We have exactly 42 minutes. Part 3. The Door Between Seconds. At the summit, they found a stone archway overgrown with silver ivy. In the center of the arch was a keyhole made of solid diamond. Clara stepped forward. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She inserted the iron key. It didn't turn easily. It felt as though she was trying to turn the earth itself. With a final, resonant clunk, the space inside the arch began to shimmer. It looked like liquid starlight. "Go," Elias urged. "I must stay here to hold the gears. If the door closes while you are inside, you will be lost in the in-between forever." Clara stepped through. On the other side, the world was silent. The grass was a deep shade of violet, and the sky was a swirl of gold and indigo. She saw people walking through the fields, people from different eras. A Victorian gentleman shared a bench with a girl in a futuristic silver suit. They weren't talking, they were simply being. In the center of this realm stood a giant sundial. Standing beside it was her grandfather, looking exactly as he had the day he disappeared 10 years ago. Part 4. The Choice. "Clara," he said, smiling softly, "you found it." "Grandpa, come back with me," she cried, rushing to embrace him. "Everyone thinks you're gone." He shook his head slowly. "I cannot leave, my dear. I am the keeper now. Someone must ensure that the 13th hour remains a sanctuary for those who need a moment of peace from the rush of the world." He handed her a small hourglass. Inside, the sand didn't fall. It floated. This is the essence of now. Whenever you feel the world is moving too fast, whenever you feel overwhelmed by the pressure of the ticking clock, look at this. It will remind you that you are the master of your time, not its servant. Suddenly, the ground began to shake. The silver archway started to flicker. The alignment is ending, Elias's voice echoed from the other side. Clara, come back now. Part 5. The Return. Clara looked at her grandfather one last time. He nodded, a look of immense pride in his eyes. She turned and ran, diving through the shimmering portal just as it collapsed into a shower of sparks. She landed on the cold, damp stone of the mountain peak. Elias was there, breathing heavily, the iron key snapped in two in his hand. Did you find what you were looking for? He asked. Clara clutched the floating hourglass to her chest. I found something better than more time, she said. I found the courage to use the time I have. They walked back down to the city as the sun began to rise. The shop of no name was still there, but Elias decided to change the sign. From that day on, it was known as the present moment. Clara never returned to the 13th hour, but she lived her life with a deliberate slowness that baffled her neighbors. She listened longer, walked slower, and loved deeper. And whenever someone asked her why she was never in a rush, she would simply smile and touch the small glass vial hanging from her neck, where the sand stayed perfectly still, suspended in an eternal, beautiful now.